hope you're all well. The weather in England is wet, dreary, cold, damp. Okay, I hope you all are doing fine. There's only one person at the moment. But I will continue. Thank you for joining me. I hope that me doing these lives will help anybody within the fashion sewing community, whether you are refashioning, stroke upcycling, or if you are a person who likes to sew from scratch, you know, from the beginning by buying fabric and patterns and etc., etc. So in today's episode, I want to talk about sustainability and what sustainability means to me and what I've found out about sustainability. And it's confusing. There's so much information out there. And one of the reasons why I think there's so much information out there is that everybody's jumping on the bandwagon in order to get our money. And how can I put it? Because we know that, and we're looking for, well, I'm looking for answers more or less straight away so that I don't have to sift through so much information in order to find out what I need to find out so I can share it with you. It's just so much. I am just confused. What I'm not confused about, though, is what it means for people who make their own clothes or small businesses. And I don't know whether that's because you don't have a big enough voice, which is a possibility. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this episode. So I want you to share your thoughts on what you think sustainability means in fashion, or even fashion sewing as well, because I've been doing the fashion side of it and also the sewing side of it, which is quite interesting. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And the way I structure this is that for the first 30 minutes, I will do all the chatting, which is something new to me. I'm not a person who talks a lot, which may or may not surprise you, I don't know. But yeah, I will start off. But before we go into the topic, let me tell you about where I'm up to with my luxury fashion sewing projects. So last time I spoke, I was focusing on my skirt in the last episode. And I told you that I will definitely have it finished in this episode. Hello, Dee. Smina, are you fine? So did I finish the skirt? Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. I'm going to show you. 1 minute. There she is. And it's funny lined. So I'm so happy. And I'm sure the skirt's very happy too because she's finally finished. Let me just show you the inside. She's finally finished. What I will do is, once I've completed this video, I'll put links to techniques that I've used. So I've used a vent, and I do have a video tutorial on how to, do I have one how to draft? I think I have one on how to draft as well as sew a vent and how to add a lining to a vent. I think I've done all three. And I've got thread stitch in order to keep the lining to the skirt so it doesn't move around too much. And yeah, really happy with the way it's turned out. So excited. So I will show you how this looks. I definitely will. How will I share this? On my community tab. I'll share it with my members on my community tab first. So if you're interested, I do have a community, CGL community, so you can always join that. It really would help my channel out. It would also help me out financially. Might as well put that information out there. And just keeps me going, helps me with producing content. And I also share a bit more extra information on those levels. So yeah, I'm really happy with the way that's turned out. It's going to be really good. So what I'll do is I will since it's completed, I'll probably show off the skirt just by itself. And then when I've completed the blouse, I'll show you the blouse and the skirt together. And when I've completed the bag, which is going to be the very last thing I do, because I have been struggling with that, but I will keep going because that's what I do, I will show you all three together. So yeah, that's why I'll do it. But before I go to sew the blouse that goes with this, I just want to show you where I'm up to with my other blouse that I was showing you, the floral one, the one that's made of chiffon. And I don't know why I'm not going straight to the blouse for this. I don't know, maybe because I don't have anywhere to go. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, it is what it is. But I'm happy with that. Yeah, really good. Okay, so I'm going to show you the blouse. Now, I suppose you're wondering if I actually managed to do any sewing on the blouse. No, I didn't. Because I told you before, I want to do 30 minutes of sewing before I actually come on and talk about whatever it is I'm going to talk about. I do have a very good excuse. My hands are cold. When my hands are cold, they warm up a little bit. I find it hard to, use a needle, a needle and thread to sew. So that is a good excuse, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Well, for me it is, but they are warming up, so I might do a little bit while I'm here, because in my last video I did ask whether or not you thought it may be rude of me to be sewing and talking to you at the same time with me not necessarily looking at you, but it's fine, what happens. So I will do a little bit, but I'll just show you. I'm quite excited about this. More than anything, I'm excited about the bow on this. Can you see? You can't really see the bow. Hello. You can't really see the bow. And that's basically because it's floral fabric. But yeah, it took ages to do that. I hope I remember how to actually do that. If I put my hand, let me put the hanger back in. Let's see if that helps. Okay, have I got that right? Yeah. There. It's an unusual kind of knotting system that I did. Oops, that's come away. I've been a little bit too rough. So there it is. It's cute. So it's based on a tie. And when you're designing, you're trying to think of another way of reinterpreting a traditional look to a particular type of garment. So like I said, this is kind of like the librarian blouse, the tie, because that's what, the knot of a man's, not even men, but let's say unisex tie. And I came up with this. It did take a while, but that's cute. So yeah. And like I said, I will really see what I can do with that while we're here. When my hands do warm up, I do actually suffer with very cold hands, and it does take me a while for my hands to warm up. And yeah, while I've been waiting here, I won't admit that it was actually 30 minutes. It was probably about 10. It was 10. The reason why is because I'm trying to tell people on different platforms, and not everybody. With Instagram, with Instagram in particular, I don't know what it is. I think it's me. I definitely think it's me. Me and technology do not agree, because my phone just wouldn't allow me to do a video to let the Instagram people know that I'm on YouTube. And maybe because Instagram knew that I was kind of stealing their viewers onto YouTube. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. Yeah, and I found it was doing some weird things. So I just think technology in me is a struggle. But yeah. Anyway, so this blouse is going to be on my lap while I talk to you about sustainability, yes, in fashion. But what I want to know is from you, if you can put it into the comments about what sustainability in fashion or sewing is to you, because it do tend to be going down two different paths to some extent. And then I'll tell you my reasons why, what I feel about it. But before I do that, let me say hello to everybody. Hello. Thanks for doing these. Dee says, thanks for doing these live streams. My pleasure. What I want to do with these live streams is do them every other week. So the next one is going to be the 19th of October, and I'll put it in a link towards the end of this live so that you can put it into your diary. So the more I can get, it doesn't even matter. I just love whoever is here now. So it isn't about the numbers. As long as you're enjoying it and we are sharing, and I do enjoy, I am starting to enjoy this. It's a case of, to begin with, I'm a bit nervous. I am still a little bit now, hoping that the topics that I'm choosing are something that you want to hear. And please do share any topics that you want me to talk about. Would really be helpful too. That really would be a way for me to keep going. But no, I'm enjoying it. And plus I don't get a chance to speak to you guys on this kind of level where it's kind of almost real time. Yeah. And I know as time goes on and I get used to using YouTube's platform and, making sure that I can get a little bit more interaction through video, but I'm learning at the moment. So I'm just taking baby steps as we go ahead. Okay, Dee, why do you think manufacturing looks abroad rather than invest in local talent? Oh, excellent question. It's all about money. Money, that's it. Just money, cheap labor. We're now seeing, because I think it happens back in the 80s, I believe, is when in the West, we chose China in particular to send all our manufacturing. And I know in England, because I was around at that time as a teenager at that time, it really had a huge impact on manufacturing in England, in particular with my mum worked for Marks and Spencer's, and she got made redundant. And that was like, wow, seriously? So many people got made redundant. It was a very, very sad time. But at that time, it was quite exciting at the same time for young people, which was at the time, because clothes were a lot more accessible, a bit more fashionable. They didn't look like our mother's clothing. So they're a bit more jazzy. Even though I was making my own clothes, at the time. I used to make all my pencil cases, purses, school bag out of denim. Yeah, I made all those sort of things, clothing. So I was definitely on that process from a very young age. And I'm sure I said this before, that my mother introduced all her daughters into sewing. I'm the only one who kind of took this route. And also, crocheting and knitting, which my mum's sister did, showed us a lot. I think my mum's sister, I'm not saying she's a better knitter, mum. She's very good at crocheting. I didn't really have the patience for knitting or crocheting, maybe because it was a lot slower, but I do have a love for sewing, for knitting and also crocheting. So I do have a few garments that are crocheted that I love, and I do collect them when I see them in the charity shops, and anything that is hand knitted as well, I am straight for it, because the amount of time that goes into it, I appreciate, and I will definitely make sure it's part of my wardrobe. If it suits my wardrobe, I will definitely be getting it. But going back to the question, it definitely is about money. And we're now seeing the results of it now through fast fashion and what it's now doing to the planet, which is a shame. I think we're trying to bring it back. We are, but it's very small. Do I think we'll ever get back to the heights at which it was back in the day? No, I can't see it. There is progress, but fashion is such a dangerous game, especially now that you can get it. You've got accessibility to fashion, all fashions, whatever level it is, online. But saying that, it's a little bit more of an even playing field, because using today's technology in order to get yourself out there through marketing and advertising is a lot easier, because I think smaller companies have an opportunity of using it effectively, and bigger companies still have their big advertising budgets and always will have, but they were latecomers to the game, let's put it that way, to getting their ideas and their philosophy and mission statement out there on the consumer. So I think we have that slight edge, but I think it was always going to be that slight edge. In time, I believe that they will be a lot bigger. But if we as consumers support people who are in the sustainability bracket, then to me that we've got a good chance of sharing the wealth, I'll put it, because it isn't evenly shared at the same time. And what annoys me more than anything is that a lot of people think that if something's handmade, it's cheap. And that is so sad. I don't get the thinking behind that. I really don't. If anybody who is not willing to pay just a little bit more for something that's been handmade by someone else, they need to try and do it for themselves. And then the understanding of how well-made garments that will last a lifetime are made, and it isn't a quick fix. The fast fashion industry are at fault by producing, I can't believe it, 52 ranges in a year. Crazy. That is just absolutely crazy. Back in the day, it was just 2. You had autumn and winter, spring and summer. That was it. I mean, even the big brands are pretty guilty as well, because they're dividing it up into, I think it's between 6 to 8, and then bringing out a new collection. I don't know. Where does everybody go in all these outfits? I mean, I am guilty in the sense that I have a lot of clothes, yeah. But I've had many of my clothes for many, many, many years, and a few perhaps for a couple of decades as well. So I've always kept my clothing because they're precious to me. They are expensive because I know the time that's gone into them. They are quality. They fit my body. They're my own style. Hence the reason they can last me year in, year out, as long as I know how to style them. But yeah, the fashion industry really needs sorting itself out, and we're here to help as well. Next question. That was rather a long-winded answer to your question, Dee. Cold hands, isn't it? Yes, thank you, Tamina. Cold hands is an excellent excuse, really. Thank you. Oh, they're still cold. Yeah, they're still cold. I wouldn't mind, but I haven't. I mean, obviously I haven't been out because it's chucking it down. Now here comes my northern accent, my northern colloquialisms. What it means is it's raining heavily. That's what I mean when I say chucking it down. I'm a northern lass. And that's another thing, yeah. I'm up north. I'm not down south. Down south is London. And a lot of people think I'm a Londoner. I am not a Londoner. Any Londoners out there, love you. But I'm a northern lass. And saying that, going back to question previously, the north of England was the place where a lot of garment manufacturing took place. It wasn't down south, actually. It's really, and the area in which I'm living in, there's lots and lots of old mills, which are no longer. There's a few that are operating, and I'm sure it's just a handful, if that, they're still operating. But yeah, so yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm from North. If anybody's from Manchester, hey. Let's see, next question. Right, Debbie. My mother used to say that people with cold hands made excellent pastries. Oh, excellent pastries. I actually do like baking. It's something I make cakes. I used to make cakes quite a bit. More so for my my husband, but I haven't been making any for a while for health reasons and stuff. But yeah, I quite like baking because it's relaxing. Yeah, I do like to bake. Oh, I must try that then. Yeah, pastries. Yes, Debbie might have answered your. Oh, thank you, Samina. Oh, thank you. Samina's just mentioned that I'm going great. Oh, thank you. Because, yeah, I'm a little bit more relaxed now, and it's going to be over to you to ask me questions as we go back to sustainability. And I'm going to talk about sustainability within sewing and refashioning or upcycling. Put in a question in the chat box whether you prefer the phrase upcycling or refashioning, because they do mean the same, but I'm not sure whether refashioning is it a British terminology? I don't know. Or is it mine? I don't know. Refashioning or upcycling. And I'll tell you the reason why. And I don't want to feel as though I'm being biased when I tell you my reason why I prefer the phrase refashioning. Yeah. So yeah, put it in chat to let me know whether you prefer upcycling or refashioning. Let's see. Oh, vegan. Yes, Mina. 52. That's a collection each week for a year. It's crazy. I don't know what we're doing to young people, but basically what we're telling them is, you need to stay up with fashion and get rid of what you've just bought. But we need to educate them in schools about not doing that. I mean, I remember back in the day, because I'm the eldest of 4, I've got 2 sisters and a brother, and my sisters will get my clothing. Yes, I wear it first, mother. But saying that, my mum would always make our clothes, and all 3 of us would look the same because it's the same fabric. But it was a case of we would pass it to other family members as well within the family. And I'd also get 1 or 2 items for my older cousins. So yeah, and it's quite fun actually to look forward to that. We should do that. Yes, it is great times back then. The youth of today are so missing out. So yeah, 52. It's crazy. I do remember from time to time, just kind of diversing a little bit, and when I was actually teaching in schools in particular, and I'll wear something more often than not, I was always wearing something that I've created or made. And young people struggle to understand the fact that I made my own clothing. The concept of me making what I am wearing, they just couldn't get their heads over it. More because of the fact they would say to me, but miss, you're a teacher. How can you make clothes if you're teaching? Excuse me? And now my reply would be, it's a hobby. I enjoy it as a hobby. I like to make my own clothes. And then the next question will be, what's a hobby? Oh, I don't know. I think schools, colleges, universities still need me, but I've got my YouTube subscribers who love me. What can I say? Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle the way we are telling the next generation that they need to think about sustainability in a much more serious manner, and also we need to incorporate that into school education. I think we do pretty well in a sense that I'm not sure how accurate this is that can go either way, school uniforms, because school uniforms can be quite expensive, but in Britain you can get them from supermarkets, but it obviously depends on the colour though as well, because most supermarkets sell predominantly different shades of grey, and obviously there's different colours of uniforms that are out there. And then they'll have a non-uniform day, which I think is fun, and students really look forward to that. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's a case of you've got lots of children that will come in with such amazing things like designer stuff, and you're thinking, God, I can't get that on my wage, and you're bringing it in as a school bag. Yeah, and then you get some kids who struggle to wear something kind of nice and acceptable by their peers. But I think it's a good idea to introduce them to that. But I think part of that needs to incorporate sustainability at some point, and we need to talk about it a lot more in schools. Okay, questions. Cold hands, warm heart. D. Oh, thank you, D. Dee just mentioned, Colleen, you are an inspiration to us all. Thank you so much. I really do hope that I am sharing and also taking on board what you want as well, and to get the message out there. And if I can bring anybody else into the conversation, I will do that. More than likely next year, just because I need to get used to the platform and get more of this out there, because with YouTube, I'm learning how they seem to have a preference. Yeah, I'm going to use that word, a preference for live, which is fine. I'm quite enjoying it. So I just need to collect some data stuff. So yeah, do a little bit more than just talk about whatever it is. So let's see what comes in 2020. 2022 already. Wow. Let's see. What do you do with small scraps? I have a massive bag of them. I'm not sure what to do. My small scraps back in the day, I would encourage students to use them to do samples. So whatever it is they weren't sure of a technique, it will, like, if you've got scraps, use the scraps, do the technique of how you think it should be done, and then come back to me and show me, and I'll show you how I think it should be done. Because sometimes there's more than, not sometimes, there is more than one way of doing a certain technique. So I always encourage people to keep your scraps and then have a folder. So you've got your scraps and your samples within your folders you can always refer to whenever you need to. It's a great way of doing it. That's how I started off with my mum. Because sometimes she wouldn't tell me how something was done. She really wouldn't. This is a nice one. Put this in the chat. What particular part of sewing did you struggle with before you got the hang of it and you didn't want to do it? Mine was putting in a zip. I just hate putting in zips. And my mum is brilliant at putting in zips. And I remember I wanted to go to a party one time and I wanted to get this skirt into this orange rust colour skirt. And it's like, Mum, please, I need help. And my mum was like, have you basted it? Yes, Mum, I basted it. And I unpicked it about 10 times and it's just not working. Your sewing machine doesn't like me. The zip doesn't like me. The skirt doesn't like me. Maybe I should just wear something else. And no, she made me struggle to put zips in. And now I don't mind. And also, I did get my mum back, though, when it came to zips. because when my mum was younger, zips are only been in zips. Americans call them zippers, we call them zips. It came around in the early 80s. The invisible zip. Here's one. Yeah, just joking. Once what I mean by the invisible zip is that once you put it in, you can't see it. It looks as though it's part of the actual seam, so it's a very thin line. And before you had the lapped, the channel zip insertions, and I introduced my mum. I showed my mum how to put in an invisible zip. I got my own back, and my mum struggled, and I'm like, okay, mother, just kind of let me know when you are finished. I'll just go and watch TV for 2 hours. Do you think? Do you think you managed 2 hours, mother? Do you think you had it done in 2 hours, mother? So yes, eventually I did get my mum back. I don't think she loves putting in zips, but she did man an invisible zip. She doesn't do as much sewing as she used to, but yeah, I did get my own back. Yes, love my mum to bits. But yeah. So let me know if there's anything that you struggled, sewing on buttons, whether you didn't like hand sewing hems, and just let me know in the comments. Let me see if there's any more questions. Let's see, and then we'll go back to the topic of sustainability in in sewing and upcycling and refashioning. Okay. Upcycle. All right, upcycle. Eco genderless vegan upcycle. Is that because I don't want to be rude or anything? Is that because you're American? Are you American, or you're a Brit, or are you from somewhere else in the world? Please let me know, because I don't. Yeah. Okay. Right. Upcycle. When I first came or introduced to the term upcycle, it was, how can I put it? I want to put it in a polite way, but I'm just going to come out and say it. Upcycling is very much, to me, a craft-based thing. When I hear the word upcycle, it's very crafty. It's very, just crafty. And I suppose it's kind of like an age thing where I think younger people do it, like in primary schools. And I just, the thing with me is, I prefer the term refashion because the word fashion is in there, and fashion covers everything. I know I talked about this in my last video about me and my mum. I think my mum's been part of all my lives. That my mum prefers the term dressmaking, and that covers everything to do with fashion. And I prefer the phrase fashion sewing, because fashion is there and fashion means everything. Dressmaking, the clues in the word dressmaking, shirt making, etc., etc., etc. But I understand that, it's a very old term. So when it comes to refashioning, I prefer the phrase refashioning, because you're getting a garment. I'll sew this next week. You're getting a garment, and you are refashioning it. It was this garment, and I'm going to refashion it by doing it that way and finding it off the shoulder or something. You're refashioning it, isn't it? Upcycling, and it also comes back to the fact, if you put upcycling in the browser and trying to find out what upcycling means, but obviously if you put upcycling clothing, it's very broad. Upcycling is a very broad term, but so is fashioning as well. Refashioning is a very broad term. Is this now a time for me to say, shut up, Colleen? Yeah, I just prefer the phrase refashioning, and I think it's just because the word fashion is there. I don't think it's anything to do with a British thing or an American thing or a Canadian thing or an African thing or an Indian thing, or, I just think, I'm sticking with refashioning. Let's see. Right, Samina, how old are your students? In schools, the students were arranged from the age of 11 to 16. And then when I taught in colleges, it was 16 to whatever age that was. We tend to find, I don't know if this is the case anywhere else, that once you get into further education, majority of the students within the class, and that's BTEC fashion design, were roughly about 16, and you get older people in their 30s and 40s that will also be part of the class as well. I used to love teaching evening class. So miss teaching evening classes. They were the best students. Evening class students did the work. Whenever I set work, it was done. Whenever I set homework, it was done. Evening students. Daytime, full-time students, different story. Oh, did I have to chase them down? Oh God, different story. But yeah, it's and then from university it's 18 and upwards, and also again older students as well. Myself, when I was at university, I was a mature student, which I'll talk about, and I will talk about. Yeah, I think I will do a live about my experience of going to university, because I think that story needs to be told. So yeah, if you want me to talk about that, then just put a yes or no in the comments. But I think it's very interesting that I need to share that story because it's very important for the fashion industry in itself, basically. So yeah, it's a wide range. I definitely think mature students, to me, were a lot more engaged. Younger students, their mindset was totally different from what they think designers are and what they should do. And like they just think designers they just draw pretty pictures of garments with no idea how to get into them or what fabrics they are. They can just draw and they want to see it come alive because they designed it. So yeah, it's breaking that all down. But it's fascinating. What I enjoyed about teaching in that kind of environment is being challenged by students, and I think they enjoyed me challenging them, especially when you got students who were quick to pick up information and would take it to the next level. And it's like, okay, you're going a bit too fast, but I understand that's the way your brain works, because that's kind of lecturer. I would never stop anybody. And then if you've got students who are struggling, then it will be a case of giving them the encouragement and, helping them to find their self-esteem, because I understand that mindset. But I always enjoyed someone who actually challenged me in order to make sure that I got the best out of them. I do remember one particular person, and it's very rare as well that you get a student that's very academic and very creative. If I'm not wrong, I think only 1% of the world population is both very bright academically and very bright creatively. They are amazing people. Yeah, I think sometimes that type of person wants to be creative, but the world in which we're living is about academic people. And so that I tend to find that they always kind of headbutting themselves, if that makes sense. And it's also pressures from family and friends, because we don't give as much credit. This is what I'm talking about. Lots of videos I'm going to do. This is another thing I'm going to do in the video about the injustices we give people who are creative in the education system and the world, or whatever it is. This feels like a rant. I do apologize if that does, but I just think we are just as important as academic people. We are. Without academic people on the planet first, who were creative people, no, academic people came along second, creative people came first. The reason is, wait for it, drum roll, can hear that. Okay. Is that the way we communicated was through drawing? Hello? Or is it just me? Yeah. It's through drawing. Yeah, that's where we communicate. Drawing, imagery is a universal language. A universal language. Doesn't matter where you are on the world, in the world, it's universal language. And yet we don't give it as much credit as it deserves. And that old saying, what's the old saying again? If you know that old saying that, what is that old saying? Because I know I've been in that camp. Starving artist. Yeah, put your hands up if you've been a starving artist. Put your hands up if you're still a starving artist. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy world. But yeah, the students have been in that range. Hello, Autumn Gale. Hello all. I'm so happy to have had this community or shown to me. Oh, right, that's nice. My struggle was rounded hems. I do have a video tutorial in how to do that. I'll put it in the link for you. If you go to my channel and click in the search box, put hemlines, a playlist will come up and you'll find it there. So I hope that hems, it's not as hard to do as you may think. You haven't given me any specifics there of whether you're using full circular or half circular. The fuller circle the skirt is, the more difficult it could be to actually sew, and also the type of fabric. But it is about using the right feet, and also base stitching will help. Get those two done and you really will find it a lot easier to manage. So don't give up. If you find that you are struggling, that's a good thing. But I hope you're not the type of person who will give up easily, because it is good practice and it is a good way for you to keep on learning. That's what I've learned over the years, definitely from my mum. So it does work. So yeah, I hope that helps. Autumn. But thank you for your question. I'm tending to find that as I am doing these lives, that people are expecting me to do techniques, showing you how to do techniques. That will not be the case on this particular live. I definitely want this to be a conversation as I am sewing, which I will do next week. So you have to tell me if that's what you want, then I will see how I can get that information out there to you. But you've got to remember that I'm on a platform where a lot of YouTubers are struggling, especially small YouTubers. I know I'm at 100k or over 100k are struggling financially being on YouTube, because we need to find different streams of income within what we're doing online, and that is very true, whether it's my channel or anybody else's channel. And can I please say that, you know, if you are, well, and you most definitely watch other people's channel, please do find a way of supporting, because that is one way of us being part of that whole cycle of sustainability. We can make a difference, but we all have to play our part. And one way we can do that is to financially support smaller YouTubers so that they can get that information out there, because there's a lot involved. There is a lot involved when it comes to equipment and, you know, getting other people to help with the channel. It really is. It's not easy. I can tell you that now. It really isn't easy. And I've been on YouTube for many years, as some of you may actually know. So do support them. Really do. All right, so we've got about 15 more minutes. Anybody got any questions that they want to put in the chat, please do so now, because we've got about another 15 minutes before I wrap things up. So before I actually do finish, so we're talking about sustainability within sewing. because I've been doing a lot of research so that I can give you as much information as I possibly can. And that's obviously going to be the journey that I'm on, because my YouTube channel is always going to be about refashioning and sharing those tutorials with you. So there's very little when it comes to sustainability within sewing. And when I did find that information, it's about textiles. Now, textiles is more to do with fabric and how they are made, how they're treated, how they're grown, you know, how the animals, how the animals are treated. It's scary and frightening. It really is. And we are not guilty of that. And I can honestly say that I have always been on that journey of sustainability. Always have. Learned that from my mum. And I've always made my own clothes. I bought whatever I bought, I've also kept for many years. And when anything was ready for the fabric shop, I've got fabric shop on my mind. A charity shop. Hardly anything ever went to a charity shop because they became rags. And that's something that was ingrained in me from a child, because that's what mum did. You know, once we've worn our clothes out and they got holes in because kids will be kids, they became household rags, as they should. Yeah, it did. But yeah, it really is a struggle to find out how we are part of that journey. And we are, but it's very, very small. There's not that many voices out there that I'm trying to connect with. So maybe I am the voice, and hopefully other people try and connect with me so we can get that information out there. Now, as regards refashioning or upcycling, it's mainly about purchasing secondhand clothing, and vintage clothing seems to be a really big thing, vintage clothing. So that is covered under sustainability. And secondhand clothing. Yeah. I know I'm struggling with that, because I'm trying to find where we fit in, and we obviously do, because we're making our own clothes. But I think because we've always been part of it before it, exploded into what it is now, we're kind of just riding the waves, because not why should we pay attention, but it's not really affecting us. So maybe it's kind of like, yeah, I told you so. And I think it's up to people like myself who have an opportunity with YouTube and other platforms to get that message out there that we need to be thinking about refashioning clothes, not just buying secondhand clothing, because people are more than likely, I'm making the assumption, they're finding the best pieces of secondhand clothing, and the secondhand clothing that's either vintage, so they know they'll keep it for a long time because it suits their style, so they won't let go of it that quickly because it's very hard to find. But with the secondhand, it's about looking for the best pieces, the quality pieces, the pieces that are not fast fashion, because you can tell by the time they get to some charity shops, or even these events that they have, they're starting to fall apart anyway. So yeah, I think a lot of people are clued up on the fact that they want to stay away from fast fashion if they are going to be purchasing secondhand clothing. And maybe it's because it's a certain brand, a certain designer that they're looking for, so they know they'll have it a bit longer because it's a certain designer. But whatever is left over can be just as good quality. I mean, I found out for myself, because some of the pieces I found is like incredible, beautiful fabrics. If you're trying to think of them in that term, in fabrics, that if they're not sold secondhand, they will definitely end up in landfill. And the percentage that goes into landfill is a lot is a lot compared to what can be sold secondhand. But that lot that is going into landfill can be refashioned, you know, and nobody's listening to that. And it's probably I'm the only one that's flying the flag. No one's listening to the fact that they can be refashioned. Why are we producing clothing in order for it to be dumped into the earth? Yeah, I do love the planet Earth. I do love nature. So yeah, so I am quite passionate about that. And yeah, it's sad, but we have enough time in order to make sure that we can play our part, and hopefully people will stand back for a while and just kind of absorb it and take it in. And if you are a creative person who wants to start from scratch, you're still part of that journey as well, because I know you love your pieces and you hang on to them a lot longer. So there's no more questions that are coming through. I want to thank each and every one of you. Right, let me just put a date in here for my next one, because I did say that I was going to do that, didn't I? So that you can put this into your diary. There we go. So you can come back to that. And also, if anybody watched my last episode, which I did watch a little bit of it, I didn't watch it all, because I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving you what I set out to do. And I hope I have done with this video. I know I did with the last one, which is like, okay, Colleen, yeah, I think they enjoyed it. I think they got my sense of humor. I think, and you perhaps seen the true me. Not that you weren't seeing the true me when I do my video tutorials, because my video tutorials, I just prefer to just get straight to the point and just tell you what I'm going to do and then do it and show you. And I think this gives you an opportunity to see a little the other side of me. You know, my very dry sense of humor, and my English colloquialisms from up north. Yeah, I just hope that will keep you coming back. Basically, that is what I'm trying to say. It'll keep you coming back, because I'm staying right here. Whether I've got anybody who's joining me, I'm going to get my voice out there. So please do share this video to your friends and family, or anybody that you know who's interested in refashioning, upcycling, whichever term you prefer to use. You know, I don't mind either. Yeah, do make sure that you do share this, and I will see you on the 19th again at the same time. It seems to be a good time for me. Nobody's told me anything different, so I will definitely stick with this time. At the moment, it's going to be every other week. And yeah, I hope that if there's any topics that you want me to talk about, you can either put it in the chat now, or you can go along to my channel and just mention it in either become a member, and you can mention it there, and I'll definitely do it because you are a member. Or you can go to community tab, and in the last post that I uploaded on the community tab, you can mention whatever it is you want to talk about there. Like I said earlier, though, that it's not a session about me teaching you live how to refashion anything or showing you any sewing techniques, because there's a lot of that on my channel. But if you do want that information, then please do let me know, and then I can put links to video tutorials that will help you if you are struggling with any sewing project that you are working on, which Autumn actually mentioned that she was struggling. So I hope that helps. That's the only way that I can find that I can help you. And like I said, if you've got any ideas about doing live, then as far as teaching you something is concerned, then also let me know that as well, because it's something that I will definitely be thinking about for the future. Not necessarily now, but definitely something in the future, maybe even starting from 2022, which is just around the corner. So yeah, So thank you very much. I'm also going to put here the link that I did for my last video. Oh, thank you, Smina. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope I didn't bore anybody. I really do hope I didn't bore anybody. But it is a case of that I just need to say what I've got to say, and hopefully you be sharing in the same ideas and whatever you've got to say as well. I will definitely be sharing it out within my community on any of my platforms, because it is very important, because that's the future for me. Is to refashion clothing. And also, you know, like I said before, I've got lots of fabric that needs to be sewn, and I like to think that I will sew them up hopefully yeah, before one has to depart from this planet. But yes, but yeah, this I will show you next week where I'm up to. I'll do a little bit more on it, and then I'll more than likely will do a bit more while I'm sewing with you hopefully. Because I didn't get that much done with this. But thank you all very much for joining me, and I'll see you on Tuesday, the 9th of October 2021 at 5:30 GMT time, which is London. I should put in there Lancashire, you know. But no, most people understand London. They know it's England, so that fits in, says a northerner. But thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.